Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Good. Jeff, I know you sent a picture about the snow. How was the weekend? I know you guys got a couple inches.
It was good. It was relaxing. Army beat Navy, which is great. So, yeah, it was relaxing. How about yours? What did you do?
Yeah, no, it was amazing. Saturday, I did a fundraising event with Brandless Rescue Goods, who I'm always affiliated with.
Nice.
I raised some money for dog rescue and had some fun there. And then, you know what? You know what I've noticed, Jeff, is that Sunday I had to take completely off. I'm not as young as I used to be. Standing on concrete floors for 6 to 8 hours, man, like my back was done, brother. So it was definitely a lesson that I need to kind of relax myself a little bit. And just want to say good morning to my brother Daman. So nice to see you on this morning. Jeff, I think I'd love to start with this because on Friday we had a little discussion. Me and Dan had a discussion on Thursday, and then we kind of had a chat with you on Friday.
Yeah.
So, to everybody watching, whether it be the first time you're watching or you're a seasoned viewer, I want to announce that Jeff is actually coming onto the show full time as a host. He's going to be with us every single day. We just love everything that he brings to the show. So you're going to see the Ryan, DJ, and Jeff show every single day. So congratulations, Jeff. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Ryan, DJ, and myself. Isn't it Dan?
Dan. Sorry. Yeah.
No, but DJ will pop in every once in a while, man. He's a good man. Love that guy, and I'm glad that DJ is joining us tomorrow, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, he brings the smiles. Definitely, the man brings the smiles to the show. So that I can guarantee. But it is going to be unbelievable. The lineup of guests that we have, the topics we're going to be talking about. It's just going to drive. Oh my God, so many things that people have never thought of before. It's going to be fantastic. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it.
Without giving it too much, I know at 9 o'clock, once we go live, we'll talk about the whole schedule and stuff like that tomorrow. But it's something that I know you and I we weren't on it last year, so
right.
Just the veterans are there to kind of lead us with Dan and DJ. So we're looking forward to it. There's a lot of a lot of our personal friends are coming on here to spread their knowledge, and that's
Yes.
the one thing that we can kind of get. So Jeff, I want to kind of get into our Monday Mayhem topic with you.
Yeah.
I know for me personally, and kind of looking at everybody else, I think really this is one of the last weeks before basically kind of close up shop because freight. It depends on what's kind of going on, right? But I want to do a little reflection today with you. So I'd love to talk about the 3 moves that you made in your business this year in 2022 to propel your business forward.
Yeah, and that's a really good question, and I'm almost positive that the people that are watching, even Daman, Lisa, Scott, I'm sure that they made some changes as well. I mean, it comes with the territory, right? You have to reevaluate yourself, like we're doing right now, because the end of the year, it's ending, and we're starting a whole brand new year. So we're planning, we're trying to figure out what our business is going to look at now and what we're going to bring to the table next year. And some of the things that I did, I spoke about this months and months ago. I hired a ton of people, because I thought at the time that, it was the best move that I could make as a business owner to help build profits and revenue. And it was actually quite the opposite. The drive wasn't there. I didn't see it. They didn't have the foresight that I saw, and I tried helping them and everything, but they were just coming in and doing what they needed to do when they wanted to do it. It wasn't something that, feast or famine kind of deal, So I got rid of them. And then I have a consulting business as well. And I got into parcel audits. And I started talking to people, making cold calls and talking to other agents and stuff who don't dabble in that area. And the next thing you know, I ran into my partner. He wasn't my partner at that time, and we just hit it off. And we had the same mindset, the same drive, the same ambition, what we wanted to do, how we wanted to do it, when we were going to do it. And we've been killing it ever since. And I would say probably about May. And the year just took off. Less people, more revenue, more fun, more drive, more determination. Those are like the 2 biggest ones that that happened over the year. And of course, getting back in the air, traveling, going and seeing my clients, logistics, right? So went down to Dallas, and while I was down there, I was like, holy cow, I've got other clients down here. Let's go visit. And so I did. I saw their operations because I'm an operations guy, at heart. And I love seeing how customers operate and what they do on a daily basis. So it just opened up more horizons for me in order to go in there and give them some value, which is what we try to do every day here on the show. So yeah, those are the three biggest ones for sure. Pandemic just killed everybody where nobody could go out and see the clients. And everything that we did, Ryan, was what we're doing right now, webinars and restreams and whatever we needed to do to communicate. But there's nothing like face to face, my friend. You can read people so much better than you can read them right now. Between you and I, and if they're dabbling with their fingers or or they're moving around, body language and all that, you just can't read that. So it was so good, man, to do that. How about you? What were your three biggest things?
Yeah, actually, before we kind of get into that, because I really like the points, I kind of want to elaborate that a little bit more, especially when you're talking about, hey, one of the first moves that you hired a bunch of people and they didn't pan out. For anybody who's in that position, or like they're going to be in that position where, hey, they're a business owner and they're going to have to bring on people because they don't want to be working 24 hours a day. What are some tips in like when you were kind of going through that process and understanding maybe metrics and different things like that with them not working out? What are some key factors that you looked at?
Yeah, the key factors is one, drive and determination. It's a huge switch, Ryan, when you go from a salary position to a commission base, because a lot is on the line. Some people, and I've seen it because I've been in industry for a long time, is that they just take a seat and they sit there and they collect. There's no real big drive because they know they got a paycheck at the end of the week. And I'm trying to make things as simple as possible. But when you go onto full commission, that's a whole different animal. It kind of, and I say it, and Dan kind of beat me up the other day, separates the boys from the men, on that, because people say, oh, I'm really good at what I do. I can do pretty much anything. But when things are on the line, how true is that statement? If you believe in yourself and you're confident of your abilities, why wouldn't you want to switch from salary to commission? And that's what I found out, that a lot of these people who said that they were really, really good. And again, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't meet them in face to face. We had the pandemic, we did it everything, by email and phone calls and everything. So there's a lot of things that were going on. So, it's very difficult. The only way to really do this is to have that face-to-face meeting. If it's really going to be worth it for your company, because that's going to be the determining factor. And don't try to hire hundreds of people thinking that everybody's going to do $1 million each. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So my advice is be smart. I was stupid. And I tried to fill a void that I didn't do it in the right way. And why? I'm not a sales guy. I keep on saying that, I didn't know what I was doing. Plain and simple. But I found out, and I found out the hard way. Don't do it the hard way. Seriously, think about what you're doing before you do it.
And when you're kind of mentioning that, one thing that I've always kind of talked about is, especially when you're a salary rep or something like that, you're basically doing someone else's dream. Right? Like when you own a company, it's
Pretty
your
much.
dream, and one of the things that I've kind of like realized is like, you can't sell somebody on your dream. You've got to involve them and find out what their dream is. So like if you're kind of finding somebody and they're like, hey, I want to do a certain GP figure, or I want to be a director, or I want to do different things. Basically figure out if it's a fit that, hey, if they can attain it with you, then they can definitely do it and kind of propel them in steps, right? Because I came from the corporate world, Jeff, and one of the things that I loved about corporate world was that yes, we were salaried, but we always had like reviews and stuff like that. And then my boss would be to have that one-on-one, right? And it would be like, okay,
Yeah.
Ryan, these are your stats. This is where it is. What can I do to propel you to wherever you kind of want to go? And
Sure.
some people are career driven. They would be like, okay, I want to attain this, whether it be young or they be old. But then there's other people who are just happy with where they are, and they're just like, look, I just want to be where I'm at. what does it take to cover my salary? Okay, I'm going to do that. I have no idea of kind of wanting to move forward. I just want to stick in this job 10, 15 years and then I'm done, right? So I think that's really implorable, like especially if you're bringing people on the team. And Daman brings something here, because when you're kind of talking about the team retention and then find your congruent partner, things like that, I thought about like kind of Damon's mission, right? And he kind of mentions like people over profits every single time. And he says here, don't be scared to keep trying. If you give them a first, second, third employee, then you'll never know the true outcomes you're after. Just like sales, you got to keep going no matter what the experience is, right? And I think, Jeff, what are your thoughts essentially on?
I agree. I agree with you 100%. And here's the takeaway, because I've been doing it for a long time. Everybody knows that. I wouldn't know what I know today if it wasn't for the excellent bosses and the corporate world in which I worked in, because I just learned a plethora of things, a lot more than other people. And the bosses that I had at that time, they opened up that door. They showed me, they directed me. I shouldn't say that they showed me, because, and that's what I bring to the table too. They didn't show me how it's done. They told me, here's the water, how you're going to get to it to drink, and just that openness, of figuring out, creating things, solutions and work instructions and process improvements and all that. That was me. It wasn't them. They didn't say, oh, change this and change that and do this and do that. We had a goal. We had an objective that needed to be met no matter which way. He didn't care how I got to it, because the end result is the end result. Did it bring revenue to the company, or did you lose money for the company? That's the end result. And I was lucky enough, that I had that direction where I was very successful in that area, where I just drove cost out and saved, some major companies a lot of money. I wouldn't have been able to do it, Ryan, without those guys. And they know who they are. And if anybody wants to look at my profile and look at the recommendations, those are the gentlemen that helped me to be who I am today. And I am thankful for it, because that's how I was able to do this. A lot of them, the only two guys were sales guys, but I wasn't in that area, but they talked to me all the time and helped me to get to where I needed to be. And I'm very thankful for them. And they're some of my best friends. This is the career that we're in, you can make a lifetime of friendships. And I've been in this business more than I've been, you know what I'm saying? I've been in this business like 3/4 of my life, when you think about it, up to this point. And it's just such a rewarding field. And I'm so happy that I met these gentlemen.
And you know what? That's important with me, because for me, one of my biggest moves this year was figuring out an inner circle, right? And I think that was because I was always really good at what I kind of did, but it was just I kind of needed that guidance to kind of get to the overhump, right? And the one thing is that I'm a big sports guy, right? And the one thing with athletes is hey, they can get to a certain point, but then they're going to bring in trainers, or they're going to bring in coaches, and they're going to bring in different people here. Because what I've noticed, Jeff, is, coming to a sports analogy, you can be the greatest athlete, the greatest scorer, the greatest whatever. You could be the best, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be a great coach. And that's what I've kind of noticed too. In our industry, we kind of noticed that the top salesmen or top saleswomen, they usually go into that managerial role, and they're not supported of how to be a manager instead of being a salesperson, right? And I think that was for me, just to kind of figure out what my inner circle is, where I kind of want to be around. The number two thing is that I went full agent. I believe it was the middle of this year. So I went from salary to agent, and not it's made me be more conscious and want to actually put more efforts in what's going on, because not to be morbid or anything like that, but when you're in a full commission role, you basically eat what you kill, right? So it's hey, if I don't do this, who's gonna suffer, right? And I've learned that from Dan, and even when we're doing the two choices and things like that, that's been so big for me, to understand hey, just one more email, just one more call, just one more thing, it just
it's like that old adage: eat or be eaten.
Yes,
plain simple. That's it.
Yeah. Well, at my first company, there was actually kind of cool. The owner had I think 12 commandments, just as a joke or anything like that. And one of them I'll always remember is what is it? You're either growing or you're dying. And I thought that was one of the impactful ones. I don't even remember the other 11, to be honest, but that's the one that I definitely I personally love, and it's been something that I've looked towards. And even for me, is the third one. The third big move I think I took was basically always being a student of the game. Like I could always learn from different people. Like you and I have had discussions. I look on LinkedIn and I learn from other people before of looking at them as competition. I post a lot more on LinkedIn. I do a lot of videos to customers and prospects. I just kind of want to be different, as opposed to just being that standard guy. Hey, I got trucks. What are you doing? You know, and kind of being that 15th annoying call in a day rather than being a resource, right? So just being an ongoing student, and I'm still going to be there. And that's the cool thing with being about a student, that I've learned from you, is that even you said, like, you're even if you reach the top of Mount Everest, you're still not happy. You know, there's no end game for you. It's just, hey, when I retire, right? When I retire, that's what's going to happen. So
That's it.
for me,
Yeah, that's it. You know, something. I mean, I love what the metaphor there is that, you know, if you want to grow, you know, you have to eat. It's the same thing. If you're a plant, the only way that plant grows is need watered every single day.
yeah,
So make believe that you're a plant, right? And that water is knowledge, and that knowledge needs to be, you know, accessed on a daily basis, because the supply chain and logistics industry is changing at a rapid speed compared to when I started, and the progression of it and where we're going. You got to be on top of your game. You've got to read a lot of periodicals, you know, read content from your competitors and friends and associates on LinkedIn. You know, I said it before, take that content, you know, create your own analogy based on what's out there, and take your experience and your knowledge and enter that, or put it in to what has been stated, and create your own, you know, and then whatever you create, fall back on it, and you know, commit to it. You know,
yeah,
just don't do it for the sake of posting something that you don't believe in. You know,
yeah.
if you believe it, print it, let people read it, and let people give you those comments back. It makes you a better person. It helps them to be a better person, because it makes them think, because, you know, it's rhetorical, right? So if you post something that they're not in agreement with, guess what's going to happen? You know, they're going to say something or comment on your post that you posted on their post, you know, and that's just the way it works. It's just a vicious circle, because everybody wants to be on top. It's just, like I said, eat or be eaten. It's not saying that, you know, we're trying to downplay their business or as a professional or anything, but it's that engagement. It's that it's just the same way as you would as a customer when you're sitting down there. Think about it, right? You're having these discussions. You may not like what he or she is saying, and vice versa, but then you're going to come to an agreement, you know, to agree, to disagree, to build those relationships. And that's why we have so many friends and associates on LinkedIn, because we all can agree to disagree. We're not going out after each other and trying to kill each other, you know. And that's what I love about the industry. It's a very small industry, you know, it really is when you think about it.
Yeah, and I think we can always like get caught up in the while you were kind of talking. The one thing that kind of shouted in my mind was like, be authentic, be yourself. And for me, like my own personal strategy when it comes to social media is that I often see on LinkedIn, and it's not people that I'm connected with, it's just people who kind of post it saying, hey, LinkedIn's not Facebook, and don't make it personal, it should be business. But it's like, it's evolving, it's completely evolving. Like I post personal things because at the end of the day, I want people to understand, like, it's Ryan, it's me as a person, it's what I value, it's the things that I like. And, then if it's made a connection, it's made a connection. If it hasn't, it hasn't. It is what it is. Like, it doesn't take anything to ignore a post or mute somebody. You don't have to be like somebody who like, just not giving out positive vibes, right? So I think when it comes to like a social strategy, like you can be not necessarily like planned, but you can always like make sure that you're being authentic with what you say, and like always back up. Like if you've got an article, tell us what you like about it, and then we can have that conversation rather than, hey, here's an article, tag like 50 million people, and then write the word thoughts. It's like, no, let's actually have an actual conversation about it, and then we'll learn from each other. Because Jeff, you and I have conversations offline, and I've learned so much from you. And it's like, when you look at it, we're competitors, right? But at the end of the day, we're not, so it's amazing to think about what we can bring in, with Daman kind of mentioned, you always keep growing. If you fail once, fail twice, it doesn't matter. Just keep going. Jeff, like we said, the three moves you propelled your business. Was there something that, that you tried over and over, it just didn't work, and you just had to pivot and try something new?
Boy, I got to think about that. I'm being honest. My business, as funny as it sounds, my business. You fail, you try again. You fail, you try again. You fail, you try again. You just keep on pushing that peanut forward, not at a rapid speed because it's not a race. It's figuring things out. And like I said, when I first started this out and this business, I mean, freaking $9,000 the first year. And it's just like a lot of people are like, I'm out, man. I can't sustain this kind of thing. But if you believe in yourself and what you do and how you do it and how long you've been in the business and the things that you can tap into, it's that self-confidence and it's believing in you. A lot of times when people get to that point, Ryan, they think more about failure than being successful, and that overpowers their ability to see beyond what stopped them from being successful, and they just get freaking blockaded right in that little box there. And it's just like, dude, climb out, man, hang off the edge, try something new. It's an experiment. Everything's an experiment, and during that experimental phase, you're going to work your ass off. You were going to work your ass off, and you're going to have more failures than success, but you just got to keep that foot on the gas and keep moving forward. If this is truly what you want to do, like I said, eat or be eaten. That goes for your internal self too. You're your own worst enemy. And I've said that plenty of times. So really think about it and take notes during those failure times and reflect upon them. Why did I fail? What could I have done better? And then when those situations come up, Ryan, you can fall back on that and say, yeah, I remember that. That was similar. This is how I went about it to correct that problem. And you do that in every single step of the way.
And that's, I couldn't say better. And, one thing I wanted to ask you, that first year that you did $9,000, what role did your wife play in basically that second year? I want to definitely hear about that.
It was tough. It was tough. She works too, and she works her tail off every single day in the medical business, and it put a lot of pressure on you. It puts a lot of pressure on it. My kid is out of the house, so it wasn't that we still have bills. Everybody has bills. Everybody needs to do certain things, but it puts a lot of things to test. You, yourself, your partnership, marriage, life, friendships. I mean, it's everything. And I'm sure that people who have gone through it will definitely admit to what I'm saying right now, that, yep, Jeff, I did that. Yep, Jeff, I did that. I did that, because it's all part of the process. It really is. It's all part of the process. You're not going to just jump from one side of the fence and go on the other side and say, I'm going to be just as successful as I was on the operation side as I am on the sales side, when you don't have any sales experience. It's just not going to happen. But it's like I said, it will happen. You just got to think hard and just redevelop yourself. That's it. Reinvent yourself, as I say.
Reinvent yourself, and that's what I love about it. And I think that, and this reason why I asked you specifically about your wife, how she kind of get through, it's like, you always got to have that one person. Like, even for myself, I love my wife, Keisha. She's always super supportive, and it doesn't matter. She won't understand what logistics is, like what I do or anything like that. It's anything like that, but it's the framework, and it's like, okay, well, we're married, we're in love with each other, and it's like she wants to support me in whatever endeavors I take, right? And being able to have that, I would say, that unbiased. It's always good to talk to somebody when you're kind of going through a rut or something like that doesn't really have experience in what you're going through, to get the genuine information out, right? And I think that's one of the most important things that I've always leaned on my wife. And Daman always kind of brings up here, like, Tim Robbins. If something doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. And if that doesn't work, try something else, and so on and so on. You can't just go on and doing the same thing. And what I think that was Einstein's quote about insanity, like doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting the same result, right? And I think you have to tweak. That's what I love about our industry. You can tweak, and what works for you might not work for somebody else, and what works for me might not work for you, right? And I think when it comes to it, like, especially looking back at like relationships, you got to have that solid rock. Jeff, you like you said, you had that 1 year, the 9 grand. Then the second year, obviously, I would assume everything kind of boosted, and then you kind of went laser focus. Um, was there any doubt in your mind going into year two for yourself at all?
Sure, sure. I'll be honest. Because you reflect upon, holy crap, man, did I have a horrible, what is this year going to do? And during that whole process, when you're doing it and you're developing something good, you always reflect upon that. And it's like, I know where I started. I know where I went wrong. I know where I went very well. I know the certain little steps that I did, that to bring in the resources and to make those critical decisions that just, 1,000% increase. I mean, it's crazy. I didn't expect it. I just put the foot on the gas and said, I don't care what kind of obstacles are in front of me, barriers, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to bust right through them, man. I'm going there at a million miles an hour, and there's not a damn person in the world that's going to stop me from reaching what I need to do. And that's what you got to do. Yeah, I mean, seriously, that's the only thing that you need to do. And go back to what Daman said with Tony Robbins, and Einstein. And what was that saying again? If it doesn't work, try something else, and so forth and so on. Right? Yeah, you can't keep on doing the same things over and over and over and over again, because if you do, you're just exemplifying failure, and you're duplicating that. You've got to make those changes, and you have to understand what caused that failure, like I said in the beginning, in order to retry and bring something else into the playing field, to score that goal that you really need to do. So you just got to be careful, and take a lot of notes on yourself, nobody else, on yourself, and what you were doing during that whole process. It's like when I started, I told you before, when I started my business, it all started on a napkin in a diner, and I just started scrolling stuff, and I still have it today, because it reminds me where I was and what I needed to do, and I hold it, close to my heart, because I'm doing pretty good, and it's going to get even better next year. I can't even fathom if it comes true. It will come true. I shouldn't say if it doesn't come true, it will come true. But yeah.
That's awesome to think about, and then, as you're kind of talking, I think about like you have to learn before you can earn, right? And you have to be able to like level up, and it always comes back to like being a student. So, we've talked about top three moves for this year. We talked about, hey, maybe some doubts and things like that from like the previous year when you first got started. I know we'll dive deeper into this coming to the end of the year, but just as we're kind of having this discussion right now, Jeff, what's one thing or one area of improvement that you're looking forward to 2023?
Probably getting out on the road a little bit more than what I did in the past. It's something that I definitely want to do. I'm actually putting things in my schedule this week and next week, and just building that foundation of who I need to see, why I'm going out there, what the goals and objectives are from those meetings, because I definitely want to make it worthwhile. And like I said before, the toughest thing is that it was easy to go to Dallas and come back on the same day. I may do the Southern California. It's been 20 years since I did that on the same day, because it's a long freaking day. Yeah. I just like going out to do business and then just turning around and just, getting back home. I'm just that type of person. So that's one of the biggest things for me, for sure. I got a ton of things that are already on the schedule for next year, and it's going to be good. Definitely going to be good. How about you? I mean, what are you going to do to boost, what you're doing in your current situation for next year?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny you mentioned that. That I've been doing a lot of research on something called monk mode, MONK, and basically what that is that you basically set a time in terms of like you're achieving your goals, and you don't let anything get in the way of it. So my plan for next year is going into monk mode, and what that's going to look like for me is bringing down my cell phone usage to 1 hour a day maximum, ensuring I'm doing a 30-minute workout every single day, 2 liters of water, and ensuring that every step that I do, like with Rico and everything like that, is propelling my business forward. And I do have some targets that I want to hit within that. But my plan is for the first 6 months, so from January to June, go all in, and I'm talking all in, 200 to 300%. June, July, August, basically not necessarily take 3 months off, but prior work will become maybe my fourth or fifth option. I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to travel. I'm going to do it, basically go through the enjoy the fruits of what I've done in the 6 months. So within that 6 months, I'm going to hit my yearly goals in those 6 months. And then the last 3 months, I'm basically going to do a balanced effect. So work kind of bumps up to number 2, and then do it again for the next 6 months. So it's going to be focus. It's going to be getting off a dopamine detox. So I know we kind of get even simple things like, like getting rid of Netflix. It sounds extreme, but I've seen some YouTubers and some people that I look up to do it, like Jay Shetty. Shout out to Jay Shetty. He's coming to Toronto. My wife got us tickets to go next year in Toronto. So we're going to be looking forward to that. So that's for me. It's just really, if I could say it in a nutshell, and I'll ask you this as well, but the number one word for me next year is going to be focus. So Jeff, what's your word for next year that you're going to, one word to summarize your 2023?
Oh, wow. It may be selfish, but me, I would say, because, I definitely agree with a lot of things that you say. I got to lose so much weight. I'd love to lose 50 pounds. Serious. I mean, I know what it takes to get there, and it was agony because I did it once before I blew my knees out. And it's something I definitely have to do. I have to start taking care of myself. And I said this several weeks ago, if you remember, and it's like, yeah, that's part of the goal as well. And it's going to be difficult. A lot of changes, and it's not like change just to do it. If you make the change, it's a life change,
Yes.
life changing event that you've got to maintain. I'm not getting any younger, and it's going to be more difficult and difficult as years go by, to get that weight off that I need to do. But I know that it's not good for me. And, those are the downfalls, Ryan, when you're creating a business and creating something good, that something suffers, man.
Yeah.
It's all about sacrifice. And then you get to that point where you're saying, you know what, I am where I need to be. Now I can do something different, but still maintain, the structure and the goals and objectives, because again, there is no finish line on that,
Yeah.
but just do that balance, create that balance that you need, to make a 23 a better year than any other year.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I had a discussion with my ops guy, and he was like talking about, his kind of outlook for like next year and things like that. And it's like it's amazing to have those ongoing conversations with your actual team. Carriers have those with everybody because, like, we can always set goals. And Jeff, one thing that when I was researching the monk mode is that a lot of people, they set their goals to like money or like revenue specific. One of the mindsets with monk mode is that you set your goals based on action, right? Like, you're gonna, let's say you're prospecting new customers, you're gonna know how many calls it takes to acquire one customer.
Oh, definitely.
Well, how many emails, what's gonna work. So it's like, okay, if it's gonna take me 100 calls to get one customer, do you want to get 5 customers? You know what it takes to get those 5 customers, right?
Exactly.
And it's important to understand the action behind it, not saying that, hey, I want to get some customers. Okay, well, what are you going to do behind it? And Lisa kind of brings up a question here for you, Jeff. What new habits do you need to do, Jeff?
What new habits do I need to do? Stop eating junk food. It's really funny. Like, when I was running 35, 40 miles a week, in my early 50s, I was running actually a high 6-minute mile at that age, which wasn't that bad. And then I got down, I was like 240. I got down to 171 pounds. I had a 44-inch waist. I went down to a 32-inch waist, and I worked my tail off like I do in my job. And so it's funny, and we won't get into it, but my good friend who's coming on the show tomorrow, I was at his house, and he goes, Jeff, man, you look horrible. You look gray and stuff like that, right? Because I mean, I was trimmed. And so I started putting the weight back on again. I was like, I don't blame Greg, but other people are like, you look too skinny, man. You're 6'4.5", almost 6'5" at 171 pounds. But I felt great, man. I felt fantastic. I mean, I could float on my feet, and I don't want to get down to there, but I want to get down to about 190 pounds. I mean, I'm over 230 again, but just certain things, eating habits. I was a huge smoker a long time ago. I don't know if everybody knows this, but I'm a very driven person, and my dad died of lung cancer. My grandfather died of lung cancer. They were smoking like 1.5, 2 packs a day. I was smoking 4 packs a day. And when I was in a bar, I was up to 5 packs a day, and I wouldn't be here today if I didn't quit before my daughter was born. And I told my daughter before she was born in my wife's womb that she would never, ever, ever see me smoking again. And I took a fresh pack of cigarettes, threw it out the window, and I never went back. So it's those are I'm a competitive person, and I compete within myself as well as others. And if I get set in my goals, I do it. It's not words to me, man. It's things that must be done. So
non-negotiables, and I think what Lisa's kind of like mentioned here, like even for me, I'm gonna be working on my fitness as well, and certain specific goals that I kind of set is like to daily, right? For me, getting 120 grams of protein every single day, eating the same meals when I go to the grocery. I know people kind of think it's like a boring, and like I truly believe in, you eat for fuel. But don't get like, I know people like work out for like 6 days and then they have that one cheat day and then they feel like garbage, right? And they binge on all these different things. So I think for me, what's important is like understanding where I want to go, make sure I take in the right vitamins. And the way that I'm going to test it is like getting a blood test at my doctor like every quarter to make sure that, hey, my levels are where they need to do, right? And I think that's where, because we often, when we think about losing weight, we think the scale is like the end all, but it's not. You can feel how stronger you're getting. So many times I put on jeans and I'm like, oh my God, like these jeans fit a lot looser than they used to fit, or like t-shirts and things like that, right? So even for me, it's simple habits, Lisa, like getting your water in every single day. Like I think everybody should try to at least get 2 liters of water in every single day. Cut out junk. And even if you're going to go eat out, just figure out what you want to do. And, Lisa, we'll do that. We'll do a healthy lifestyle challenge. And
are you sure? You sure you want to do that, Lisa? Because I'll tell you what, and it's really funny. We had this, we called it not a championship, but a championship. And that's when we had many different friends. And like I said, I'm very competitive, and we threw in like $200 each. And I told them it was the worst investment that they ever made in their whole entire life, and that I'm going to win. And I said, you might as well just, give me the money, stop whatever you're going to do, because you're not going to do it. And within 5.5 months, I went from 240 down to 171 pounds. And I mean, I was killing it. I hate to sweat, but once I start sweating, I'm nonstop, man, nonstop. And so I took their money, and, we had metrics and everything. We check in every, week and do the BMI and everything. I mean, I had a BMI like 32. I think it was 32 when it went down to an 18.
Let's go. Congratulations, man.
So I mean, you sure you want to do that, Lisa?
Well, yeah, you got some challenge here. Lisa's actually at 100 days straight of working out. So congratulations to that. You're sticking into that habit. Hopefully you got the floss game going on. I know you're kind of wanting to work on the floss game, but I think that's amazing. You have that accountability with people. And, for me, it's like, we're looking at the 7 days and it's like, okay, well, 4 days I'm going to be in the gym. I'm going to be doing weight training, but my off days, what am I going to be doing? Right. I want to do either yoga or like a little walk, and, walking my dogs. I like to consider that somewhat exercise, but it's more for me than it is for them, going out to nature. We got some amazing snow like you do over the weekend, and just being present. Right. And I think it's intriguing. And you know what? When we're able to accomplish those small goals, Jeff, then it's like, okay, well, when it comes to our business, it's like, this wasn't so hard. Like I should have banged out those 10 extra calls. I should have called my customer to see how they're doing. Or like if there's an issue, a truck's going to be late, or there's a big issue that we can't service this lane anymore. Eat the frog. Go have those conversations, because it's not, you're not going to die from it, right?
No, you're not. And I did that. It's like, you have to be on top of your game. And like I said, you have to say the things to your customers that they don't want to hear, and definitely what they want to hear. That's what builds relationships, and you got to beat them to the punch. Don't let them recognize that something's not working. Recognize it first, tell them that it's not working. And if you need to pull out, you pull out, and you tell them pull out. You get more respect as a business person that way than just letting things go awry and not doing anything about it or responding to it. And then saying that the customer reaches out to you and saying, you know what, your service sucks. You hardly ever, you hardly ever reach out to us. You don't talk to us or anything. And especially when things go wrong, we find out before you do, kind of thing. Don't go in that area, man. Be on top of your game all the time, and figure it out. It's okay to back off. It's okay to lose it. It's all right, but it's doing the right thing, and your customers will recognize that, and they appreciate it more than. And I had, a couple that I did that, new carriers getting on there. They say what they can do, but couldn't do what they say. And, I gave them a few loads, and then I just said, call up customer and said, it's not working. It's just not working. We fixed it in other ways, but it's just the things that you need to do. That's what a good business partner does,
And that's taking accountability, whether it be in your business, your personal life, and everything else, mentally, spiritually, and like that. So, Jeff, tomorrow it's going to be a banger. Had an amazing episode with you. Today was awesome. I genuinely always love the conversations that we have on air and off air. So I'm so thankful for you, my friend. Tomorrow, we got the big 12 days of Christmas. We'll get to start at 9 a.m. and then we'll run through the whole program. So we won't spoil it here, but we want to thank everybody for coming out this morning. Even if it's your first time watching or you're a seasoned viewer, please like, comment, share this with anybody that you think can bring some value. And we'd love to hear, drop in the comments or shoot us some DMs. What are the 3 moves that propelled your business forward? And we'd like to kind of get feedback from everybody, because like we always say, we could learn from everybody. So want to thank our corporate sponsor, Daman at Centurion Trucking. I know they are looking for agents in Canada and the US, and they are paying commissions up to 60%. So Damon's a great person. Definitely hit him up and see what they're all about. Jeff, let's take it home, brother. Let's get ready to rest for tomorrow. We got some Red Bulls. We got some coffee. We'll get ready.
Get some Red Bulls and coffee. Yep. Who knows? Maybe the bodacious Santa or elf will show up tomorrow. Who knows? It'll be a lot of fun.
All right, everybody. Take care. We'll get the replay again at 3 p.m. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
All right.
Centurion Trucking, our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion Trucking and start designing your